super excited to have you join us for the Empress Code. Now, I'm just excited for this whole series that I'm embarking on because I have done the work that I'm going to teach you. Like, I've done this work and embodied it and worked on it for myself for the last probably coming to 5 years now. And I haven't actually taught it greatly outside of my normal clients, my normal sort of bigger level clients. And I'm just really excited to bring it to you in this format, in a free format, in like a lower level investment formats, because it's the most powerful work that really unlocked not just my business and abundance on all these levels and my manifestations, but just manifesting miracles in all parts of life. This is sort of a key. We're unlocking these key codes that are in the cells of your being that really is the pathway to all that you want and desire. When we do, what I'm going to talk about tonight is archetypal work, and I'm going to start to introduce you to some of that tonight. When we do it, I'm not sure if you've heard a lot about archetypes, but we have these archetypes that are these like symbolic images and these unconsciously sort of imprinted instinctual parts to us. And they transcend all cultures, all languages, the same patterns, behaviors, characters that show up in myths and legends and stories throughout all of time. And there's this like coding in our DNA. We all have these different archetypes. And a lot of the time, we're just restricted and limited to one main archetype or two, or like, we have a very restricted repertoire and language, and it's like we're just trying to learn one language and speak in one language in one part of our life. And your business and life and abundance and like love and connections and your heart and things that you want to create, they get blocked because you don't know how to speak the other languages and you don't know how to move in the spectrum of the colors that is in your soul. And so once you actually start to know how to unlock this, there is wisdom, there's power, there's medicine in all of them. And you may resist some, you might neglect some, you might, be holding some back. And it's actually to the detriment of your life, the detriment of your business. I know for me, I tried, and I'm going to share the stories about this, but tried for 4 years in my business to unlock my business, to unlock the code, to create abundance, to create the 10K month. 4 years of not doing that. No matter how hard I tried, no matter how much action I took, no matter what strategy I did, what coach told me what to do, I did it. I was the good student. I did everything. And I couldn't break through. And the reason was because there was pieces in my DNA, there was coding within my being that I wasn't embodying and I wasn't fully owning. And so I was restricting and limiting myself. And there was actually this body wisdom, this collective power, and this innate wisdom inside of me that once I got some coaching and help on how to access, it just unlocked, this wisdom and this knowing and this intuitive work, that then just led for me to know the direction. I didn't need to follow exactly what one person told me to do. It was sort of being led by my innate wisdom. And that's what happens when we unlock this. So I'm super excited about it for that reason. And I want to tell you, so, we're looking at the Empress Code today. We're looking at the Empress, that sort of being at the moment. And this is one, if I'm going to think of like the code that broke me through in business to a really high degree, the deep work that really unlocked things for me in an abundance level, like the Empress was vital. There's lots that are, and I will share others in future, but the Empress was one of the most vital. And I want to tell you, before I uncovered this work, and as I said, for these 4 years, I was trying everything. I was doing everything with my power. I was listening to everything these coaches were telling me, following these niches that they told me to do, doing the strategy they told me to do. It felt manipulative. It felt unaligned. It felt that it wasn't true and it wasn't real and it wasn't me. But I did it because I thought they were the guru. They had the wisdom. They were the one in the knowing, and I just had to follow what they said, And so then 4 years of me going and trying and doing everything possible, doing all these marketing things, constantly putting myself out there, doing sale call to sale call. There was one point in my business, and you probably heard this story if you followed me for any point, but I was paying $20,000, $5,000 a month for these coaches and doing all they said, but it was taking me away from my power. It was taking me away from my knowing. It was going against what I felt intuitively. It was going against what I energetically felt I wanted to do. they were telling me to follow all these strategies and stuff. They said people don't care about energy work. They don't care about the superconscious. All these things that I cared about, this background of psychology that I had. They said no one's going to buy that. No one cares about that. They just want this strategy. They just want to make 10K months with this do, right? So I did what they said and I tried, but for 4 months, I made $0. It was the worst time in my whole business, even though that was meant to be the way to make the money. And I did 20 sales calls. I did 5 sales calls a week. Everyone said, no, no, no. It wasn't in alignment. I wasn't trusting myself. I wasn't in my own power. I was outsourcing my power to someone. And then within this month, right when I was about to become a homeless single mom, like I was not going to be able to pay another whatever to these coaches and not make money. I learned about the archetypal work right in this month. And I learned about the power of the Empress. And I started to do an embodiment practice. I started to do archetypal work and I started to embody the Empress. And when that happened, one thing happened. I started to own my own power. And I'm going to unpack this and tell you more about it. But the first thing was I started to own my own power and stop outsourcing my power to these other people. Because the Empress is connected primarily to power. You know, that's one of the keys of the key code in DNA. If we're going to in touch with the Empress, like we're encoding our power. And so that was one thing. The second thing, so I started to believe in my own power, believe in my own guidance and follow. If you think of an empress, you think of like a high level queen of this, you know, the empresses of old, all these things. They don't go like making their decisions based on what everyone else is saying. Like they know their own knowing. Yes, they might be input and some decision, you know, input, but they are the key player. They're the decision maker. They're the one that moves with their knowing and their wisdom, and they trust and back that. That was the first thing. The second thing is that I also then connected to service. You think of, again, the Empress, you think of like this powerful person. They're in service to the empire they serve. You know, there's a regalness, there's an honoring of the people they serve. They are there to be of service. They're there to be the guide. They're there to be the conduit of God for these people. Now, before this point, I was just trying to make money. I was just trying to get a business going because I needed money for my son and I. Like it wasn't necessarily, yes, of course I would have admitted and I wouldn't have said this to people that I wasn't in a service, but my preoccupation of my energy was, you know, just to make money, to get things that I needed and like to serve the needs that we had. And yes, I can. As a single mom, I needed these things, but service wasn't my primary thing. And so when I started to do this, service became a very strong primary factor in my life. I wasn't just looking at these people and thinking they're a dollar bill, like I might get some money through them. I was like, how can I serve them? How can I help transform these people's lives? How can I pour so much into these people, this value? How can I do that? And when I did that, the people sensed my heart. They sensed that service. They sensed I wasn't there to manipulate and just try and use and like take from them. They sensed that I was wanting to give, you know, and I wanted to really add value. And the last piece that also trickled on to unlocking was abundance. If you think about the Empress, you think about that the archetype, she's the most abundant beings there is. You know, she's the key to unlocking abundance and not just for herself, but for her community. And like, she's all for growing in the highest purpose of like highest for me, highest for you, highest for all of us. Like it's this constant sense of abundance and generosity of spirit. And when I activated those two things, like, and then I connected to my own sense of abundance and my innate sense of abundance that wasn't like circumstantial, that wasn't right now in this moment, I don't have it. I connected back to the true form that we are an abundant being. If we're a human, we're abundant because we've got trees and like sea life, like that is helping us breathe and stay alive for free. You know, we've got access to all of this. Like, and even now, if I looked now and I looked at my life and all that I had in my home and all the things thousands of years ago, the empresses of the day, like I was living as a queen and empress. They didn't have fridges of food and whatever like I have. Like I was like abundant. I saw that. And I connected to the abundance of the Empress and that birthright. We actually have a birthright of this. It's not, do you have this amount in your bank account, you're abundant, whatever. It's an energetic, it's a birthright of a human being. If you're living, You're an abundant being. You're a miracle of life. You already have life. Like, I started to connect to this. And when we have that sense of abundance, like whatever we appreciate grows. And so within that month of embodying this coding, and I'm going to unpack it more for you and tell you more, I started to create attraction, magnetism, abundance. I had a 20K month in that month after months, of zero, after years of only 1 month hitting a 10K. I had a 20K and then it just never went back again because I'd unlocked the Empress Code. That was one key piece. There were other archetypes, there were other key pieces, but tonight I'm talking to you about this one. So I want to hear, put in the chat, or you can unmute, what are you taking away so far from this? Or do you have a question yet either? Key takeaway or question. Put it in the chat or unmute. We will keep going. Abundance is our birthright. Yes, precisely, it is. And I'll unpack each of these a lot more, but we need to remember that if you're not experiencing abundance right now, you're blocking. There's a waterfall of life, opportunity, abundance wanting to gush out. The only reason it's not is because there's something in you, in the coding, that's blocking it right now. It just has to be unblocked. It is actually the way that our true nature is. Our body is constantly bringing us to health. That's its true nature. It's constantly bringing about wellness and our well-being. There may be a block in that. There may be something unprocessed that's creating blocks and things, but that's the true nature. So yeah, it's huge. We need to connect to the energy of abundance. Yes, that's where, the life force of that is. Service is a primary factor, 100%. Blocking my transformation no matter how much I deserve it. Yeah, and we can unpack a bit more into why that is, hun. Definitely. What we acknowledge grows. Yeah, whatever appreciates, right? So if we're sitting there and we're constantly like in this frequency of lack, and I don't have this and I don't have that and I want this because a lot of the time the want can come from the lack. That's a very different frequency to want for its own sake, want for love's sake, want for desire. They're very, very different frequencies. On the frequency channel, they're on a very different frequency. And if we're in lack, that grows. And if we're in abundance, that grows. Whatever we're feeding, whatever we're appreciating, that is what you're growing. Right? And a lot of the time, even we'll be like, oh, I'm doing all this wealth stuff. I'm doing all this money stuff. Like I'm saying all these, like I'm abundant, I'm rich, I'm blah, blah. But where's it coming from? Why are you saying that? Oh, I'm really afraid of like not earning enough money. I'm really afraid of debt. I'm really afraid of I was afraid of like being this homeless single mom. So I really wanted money. I was doing these things because I was afraid of that. The energy it was coming from was that. That was where I was preoccupied. That was what I was actually looking at. And everything I was doing was from that drive. So it wasn't actually abundance that I was focusing on. I was focusing on lack and the lack that I had and the lack that I feared and the lack that I didn't want. Right? As miracles, learning to unlock the door to the coding will bring the abundance trust in myself in all the ways. Yes, I've got more blocks than a block of flats. I love that. Excellent for some comedy today. But the thing is, like, you can say this, right? But if abundance is our birthright, if wellness and well-being and abundance is actually the way that the universe operates, the way that your body operates, the way that it's meant to, right? Then actually there's not many blocks. And it's the flow of life. And instead of just holding on, you're in that river of life, instead of just holding on to the riverbank and holding for dear life and not wanting to move forward, it's like just releasing, just letting go a little bit more, setting the intention. And this is a little hack for you, ladies and gents. if you set the intention that I am going to, clear the way for this, or I'm going to get the key piece and the core piece that's going to unblock this. I've shared this before in a class, but this is a really key point. If we say I've got heaps of blocks, I don't even know how to uncover it, whatever, that will be what we create, right? But I kid you not, every time I've said to the universe, I am serious. I am decided. I'm done. Like, I want to know the core of this. I want to know the core of my abundance. I want to know the core of the well-being. I want to know the core of the block. Show me, and I'm dead serious, and I'm not mucking around anymore. I'm not effing around anymore. I've made the call and made the decision. Again, the Empress, right? If there's a war going on, or if, like, she's going to make decisions on behalf of her people and they're fighting, whatever it is, she is decisive and has intention. And even if she doesn't know, she just sets the intention to know, right? So if you say, like, I've got more of these blocks, I don't know what the blocks are, or like, I'm blocking it even if I don't feel like I deserve it. Like, set the intention that you will clear the way. Set the intention that you will claim the deserving. Because whenever I've called out to you and said, like, I need a feminine mentor, like, I have no idea how I'm doing this. I don't know what's the block. I've tried all my cards. I'm out of aces. Like, show me the way. Like, when I've actually asked for support, I've asked for the help, I've asked and set that intention, it's come. Right? So that's the sort of first thing I want to say based off what you are saying, what's landing. That's really, really great feedback. So let's dive a little bit more into the power, the first piece, the power of the Empress. Now, I want you to reflect on your relationship to your own power. Because the key image, one of the key pieces of the Empress, the key codes of the Empress is that she sits on her throne, right? The seat of the throne, like, that's that regal, adorned, honored place, but it's the place of power. And I want you to look at yourself and see who is on your throne right now. Who is, like, in the seat of power? Who are you outsourcing your power to? Or are you on the throne right now? Are you seeing yourself as the predominant creative force? Are you the one who has the power? Because in that time when I was really blocked and I wasn't making it, the coaches I had were telling me all these strategies. I put them as the guru. I put them as the empire guide. And they were on there. But they are not the emperor. Like, they're not the emperor of my empire. It doesn't work with them on there. I had to kick them off and put myself on there. It doesn't work. They do not vibe with my empire. They're not, Miranda has her own empire. You have your own empires. And we need to be at the seat of it. We need to be at the head of it, because our people who are connected to us only respond to us. They don't respond to other frequencies and people and codes and your partner being on there and the people telling you, all these other random people that we care about, that they don't, your real people, your tribe, don't want to listen to they don't give a shit. They want to listen to you, and they will come when you sit on your throne and you share the truth and you're in your power. But if you've got Facebook algorithm and engagement on the throne, if you've got all these other people's opinions and judgments on the throne, your family, your partner's family, your partner, like, if they are on the throne and they have the power, and that you're not living in your true nature and you're not expressing your true self, because all these other opinions matter, all these other judgments matter, and that's consumes you, you are not going to be able to rule your empire. People won't see you and hear you and come, because you're not even on the throne yourself. Yeah? So look at right now, where have you outsourced your power? Who has got it? Who do you think is dictating your life right now, or your decisions right now, or how good your business is right now? I used to at some points think the Facebook algorithm had my business, or this marketing person, like, they determined this. No, I can tell you now, if I am in alignment and I'm an energetic, part, and I'm sitting on my throne and I'm in the power, and I'm in my power and I'm in my truth, my sales team, my marketing team, everyone else, that all works. The ads, whatever, it doesn't matter. But if I'm not, none of it does. It all comes back to, am I on the throne? Am I owning the power? Am I seeing myself as the predominant creative force? Or am I blaming Facebook? Am I blaming this person, that thing? Am I focusing my energy on all these things that are just leaking my power. I don't care if people judge me. I don't care if that's just leaking power. That's taking me off the throne and just placating to all these people, right? Tell me what you're taking away. Tell me your questions. It can be difficult to feel that you possess the power. Yes, it can be. But yeah, let's set the intention that we can own our power. We can sit on the throne. And look, ask yourself, Wendy, what is difficult? Why do we struggle with this? Think about right now, two questions. Where have you outsourced your power? And what has that given you? What's the payoff? What are we scared about? What are we afraid of not owning? And tell me, unmute, share, put in the chat what you find. I'll give you a minute to think about it, write it down. You know, what have you given your power away to? And why? Why have you done that? Why are you afraid of your own power? What is there in the fear of your own power, in the fear of your own light? What is it? I'll give you a minute to write and reflect, and then we'll talk about it. Tell me, where have you outsourced it, and why? Why are you afraid of your power? Why are you a fear of it? Why are you blocking it? I keep creating problems in my life that I have to solve, which take my attention, time, effort away from my desires, but I don't know why the other than I don't, so I don't try and then don't fail. Yeah. Yeah. Fear of failure is a really common one for sure. Fear of being judged, failing. Yep. Yep. Yeah. And it's interesting, isn't it, Shireen? Like the ego will create problems and create a problem solving focus. And I'm just going to tell you right now, and this will be a whole nother masterclass. Like, if you want to create what you want, don't problem solve. If you want to create what you want, don't problem solve. Let the problems be, acknowledge them, see them, whatever, but then go put the energy in just what you want. And I bet you, put your energy into creating, and I bet you those problems will get solved in amongst the creating. I was nearly a homeless single mum. I was $20,000 in debt, not just to the houses that I had, like this was in my bank account. That was a big problem. I wanted to put all my energy and attention on it, but I knew if I did that, it would have just fed it and it would not have solved it. It would have made it bigger. So I went to create. I went to what do I want? I went to how do I want to be there for my son? How do I want to be there for these clients? What do I want? And I just went to create that. I saw the fear. I saw all the worries. Like I acknowledged all the hard problems around me, but I then went and put energy into what I wanted instead, what I wanted to create, not what I didn't want. And that was a key because I put energy into love. I put energy into creation. Problems are, fear, their lack, their ego. That's feeding the ego. Our superconscious, our genius is fed by love. It's fed by what we love. So I just kept pivoting my energy, and that was the key to unlocking that. I have to make hard decisions that I don't want to. Yeah. And what is it? I've heard somewhere that says like unhealthy things feel good now and feel bad later. And healthy things feel bad now and good later. It's like I go to the gym. I don't want to do it, but I go and I feel amazing, But I want to go eat some hot chips from KFC, and then I feel like not great, but it's that piece, right? I rarely feel confident, but deep down, I know I can do almost anything. Yes, amazing. Fear of people's judgment. I know, why too, it can be a struggle to get over that though. Yeah, the judgment's big, and I have an answer to that as well. But with the confidence is too, Courage comes before confidence. It goes courage, competence, confidence. I come to these masterclasses or whatever, and I don't have any fears and things that come up. I just come to serve and I come to show up. That wasn't always the case. I had to have courage to start showing up and doing it, even though I freaked out, didn't know what I was doing, whatever. And I started feeling more competent. That led to confidence. A lot of the time we wait for the confidence to go do anything. It's never going to happen. Courage is required. So that's definitely important there. And Jane, with the fear, the judgment, and a few of us have said fear of judgment, fear of failure, when we can unconditionally hold ourselves, because if I'm the empress and I'm on the power on the throne, on my throne, I answer to myself. And my opinion of myself is what really matters, right? My view of myself, my judgment of myself. Because if you think about people's judgments, if you don't actually judge yourself in that way or you don't care about it, it does not matter if people judge you. It's actually your self-judgment you're afraid of. So if you call me a blue frog, and I don't fear that you're going to call me a blue frog, because if you did, I just go, okay, I'm not a blue frog, whatever. If you good on you, but I have no self-judgment in that way. I don't think I'm a blue frog. So I don't have a fear. I don't have a problem. Right? So it's actually my opinion of myself that matters. But if I have a fear that you perceive, me as selfish or self-involved or something, and I actually think maybe there's a part of me that does that and I haven't owned that shadow or whatever, then that's something I'm going to be afraid of. I'm going to be afraid of exposing. I'm afraid of when someone says it, I'm like, oh, get triggered, So if you want to not care about judgments, we just have to build our relationship to ourselves. And if we think of the Empress, on her throne, she owns her power. She's on her throne. She is born there and she's owning it. And it's a birthright. She doesn't get voted off. She's here and that's her. And this is her place because it's who she is. And you have a birthright to be in your own empire. You have your own empire. You have your own throne. And you were born to be that. It's your true nature. It's your true purpose. In the hero's journey, you actually are a queen. You are an empress. You are you've just forgotten. And you've become a peasant, or you've thought yourself as this thing. Because if you look at the hero's journey and you look at a lot of TV shows and movies and the way that the myths are depicted, the queen or the king, or they are born into being peasants or hidden, or they're, Luke Skywalker, whoever it is, they don't know who they really are. Because it's to protect them. Because if, Luke Skywalker was a baby and child and Darth Vader or whoever, I don't even know, I can't even think this is the story. I should tell you a story of what I know, but they will go kill the baby. And so it has to see as a peasant, it has to not know it's a king, not know it's a queen. There's so many stories like that. And it's the remembering, it's the reclaiming. And so this first piece about you sitting on your throne, you reclaiming your power, this first piece about embodying the Empress is going from the peasant and viewing yourself as a peasant, viewing yourself as powerless, viewing yourself as a piece of crap, whatever you see yourself as, going, no, that's not me. I am an empress. I am this. King Arthur, all these stories, they had to remember and reclaim their throne, right? And you have an empire. I have an empire. And we both can have empires, and we don't compete with each other because we all have our own empires and we all have enough abundant people to fill it that is directly related to us. There's some people that relate to me. There's some people that relate to someone else. And that's great. That's fine. We all have our own time and own space to rule and to lead, So that's the first thing on power. The second piece is around service. A massive coding of the Empress is service. One thing I just want to say, and I didn't mention before we move to service, interestingly, if you look at any movie, any depiction of the queens, the empresses, a lot of the time they are corrupt and the power corrupts them and they become an evil witch or the bad one, right? Meryl Streep in The Devil Wears Prada is an empress sort of queen archetype. but she's corrupted by it, you know? Even Hera, the Greek goddess, like I was looking at some of these myths and archetypes and like looking at embodying some, and there's not really one good story of her. She's like the queen of the gods, and she's just jealous and cruel and power hungry, and you know, um, and is it Demeter or who's the on Game of Thrones? Who's the girl? What's her name? I've written it somewhere, but I can't find. Does anyone know the main empress in the Game of Thrones? What's her name? Can anyone unmute or put it in? It starts with a D, doesn't it? Anyway, Darian? No. Anyway, it doesn't matter. She was corrupted by power and went insane because of it, because of becoming the empress. So the interesting thing is the way that we fear the empress, we fear the queen, we fear power because we just have these examples of people being corrupted by it, corrupted by greed, corrupted by money, corrupted by power, and that's the shadow. It could be a shadow of it. But if you are fully in leadership and embodiment of service and things like that, doesn't have to be where we go. But this is a lot of the reasons as to why we fear the empress, why we fear this judgment, we fear being corrupted, we fear, and you're not going to call in abundance. You're not going to call in power and influence and scale and being seen if that's something you fear. For years, I was like, I want my business. I want, all this abundance. I want all this stuff. But then I had a discussion with myself and I actually believed that if I grew my business, my son would get hurt because I could only have one good thing in my life. And I just had love to my son. And so I had a belief that if I grew my business, he'd get hurt. And so if I grew my power and abundance, something would happen to him. And I didn't want to, subconsciously, I wasn't going to create business if that was what I believed. So I had to work through that. So I want you after tonight to reflect on what's your beliefs around power? What's your beliefs around money and abundance? And because if you think it's going to corrupt you, or you're like, what are you afraid of? Because that is what's blocking you from fully owning it. And it may not even be logical and real, but that's this part that is subconsciously blocking you. And you need to expose that and not give it power anymore and move through it. Yes, that's right. I don't even know how to say her name. Danner. Yeah. To get Tara and Gary. When I used to watch it, I knew Denner. Anyway, thanks for finding it. That's great. That's who I meant. So I just can't even say her name. Okay, so service. I want you to really reflect on, what do you, when you say you want whatever it is, look at what you want, what you say you want, what you really want. Like, could be business, could be abundance and money and certain K months or certain influence or PR or impact. Like, what do you say you want? Ask yourself, why do you want it? What's it for? And be really honest with yourself about what's the key driver of it. What's the key motivation? What's the key reason? Because if I was to look at that time in my life when I was in that really bad place in my business and for those years prior, I would have told you maybe the right things I was meant to say on impacting the world and, having clients' lives changed and whatever, I would have scripted to say. But if I actually was honest with myself and I actually looked at why I wanted it, it was for my primary thing of which is, it's not bad, but deeply it was, I wanted to be, seen and known. I wanted to be a motivational speaker. I wanted to have significance and influence. And I wanted to, make money for my son so I could spend time with him. And that's all fine. And that can all be a part of it. But if you want to have a business that is expansive and abundant of ease, that can't be the primary motivator. It can be one of, but it is not at the frequency and the highest level of frequency of love. It's not coming off and from my angle and what I wanted and why. It wasn't from the frequency of love. It was from the frequency of lack or discontentment or jealousy or anger and desire or unworthiness, or that's where it was actually coming from. That was the root. That was the seed. It was lack. And service was an incredibly high frequency when I actually started tapping into the Empress. And what am I here for? Who are my people I'm serving? Who are the people I'm here to influence? Who is God or the universe or whoever, the superconscious, calling me to influence? Who are my soul tribe, my heart connected people that I'm here specifically for me, my unique self, and I'm here to unlock something for them? And what am I here to unlock? And when I started to tap into that, and I started to connect to that deep why from a deep, specific service to the soul person, that soul tribe, that one woman I could imagine and connect to. And I'm not just saying generally I want to transform lives and save the world and, save the dolphin, whatever. The specific thing, what you really are uniquely here for, the unique purpose. I used to have these decisions and things I wanted, like I want to create 40K months, blah, blah, blah. When I did that, it was just because I wanted to buy this jet ski, this thing, this whatever. And so I could, whatever. And it was like, yeah, cool. There was things I wanted to get, but it was not of a high frequency. It was not of a deep rooted soul reason. So it just brought up my ego. Oh, you're not worthy of this. You don't know why you deserve it. Whatever. Like it just brought ego up for me and it just brought blocks up. But when I connected to the service of, I'm here to transform this woman. And at the end of this month with me, at the end of this 3 months with me, at the end of this 6, this is what's going to happen for them. And if they don't take this journey and they're meant to with me, like this is where they're going to go and they're going to have this, difficulty and they're not going to know how to navigate. And I actually, like my heart started weeping for these people. I started to see the deep impact I could make and how I was uniquely the mentor or the empress or the guide for this one person. Like when I actually connected deeply and personally to that person, and I started talking to that soul client, that one person, and I started connecting to her and seeing what she wanted and what would happen from my work and working with her. And like when I actually started making that my priority, that what I cared about, and doing all within my power to support them to create those results and create those changes and create that transformation. When I put my main emphasis on that, even more recently, the last 2 years, like my business has grown. It provided an abundance for my son and I, and like, but it's not enough. It's not exciting. It gets to a level where there's a limit. It's like, I don't necessarily want more things or more travel or like, there has to be something bigger than this. It's like connecting to your true purpose. That is the thing that is going to get you up at 4 a.m. and 5 a.m. It's going to drive you and excite you. I create this for you today. I don't need this. I don't need to do this to make money or whatever. I do it because I love it. I do it to support you. This is a part of my service. It's my mission. It keeps me awake. I get excited. I look on the weekends and I research this stuff. Like, this is what I love, right? When you come from that high level of service, it unlocks powerful things. It unlocks abundance. It unlocks an abundance of inspiration and creativity. You're magnetic. People can sense the true, actual desire for people and the motivation. So ask yourself, like, for the products you're offering, for your business, for money, like, why do you want it? What's the deep why? And be really honest with yourself. And it's fine, as I said, to have these other things. I want things for other things too. But service and the real specific reasons of service is the really deep, important tool. Because when I hooked into that, I had that 20K month because I hooked into it. The next couple of months later, I had a 100K month with my first alchemy launch, but not because I was trying to make 100K, because I was talking about the 10 women I wanted to draw in to impact, to create this change and ripple for. And when I put the energy in that, my soul grabbed onto it and it didn't have any blocks. It was a pure hearted thing. It was service. It's a really high frequency and it's magnetic and it's an abundant energy. Right? Tell me what you're getting away from this. Put it in the chat. What are you taking away? Any questions? I'd love to hear. I want more money so I can use it towards the things that make my soul happy. At the moment, I just work to pay the bills. Yeah, Wendy. And our soul gets to decide what we want, right? We don't want money to decide that. And so the frequency of abundance is really vital and important for that, for sure. And we'll have a look at the abundance piece in a moment. to help, with that a little bit more. I have to be on the throne. Yes, you do. That's where you're meant to be in your empire. What else? Don't solve problems. Put your energy on what you want. Yeah. Put the energy into creating, not in problem solving. It's very, very key. That changed my life. I'll probably do a whole masterclass on that because that's its own thing. I could talk about that for a long time. I feel fearful of what I can do, then I will be alone and regret the wrong choices and decisions. Yeah. It's important to really know what we're afraid of. And the interesting thing is the ego is always looking at things through a negative perception of what we're going to lose, what we're not going to gain, what, is the risk, like all of that. But the superconscious, our genius, like can see what we will gain, what we'll evolve with, I didn't want to run my retreats. And, Amita, you've been on my retreats. I didn't want to run them in case I would not create them and in case I would spend money and no, they wouldn't come and in case whatever, right? But Amita, what if I didn't run it, and you didn't have that experience? Like, what if I didn't run it and I didn't have that experience? Every time I've run my retreats, they've been the most transformative thing ever, and there were points in times where it looked like I was going to have one person coming on along with me or whatever, or, and luckily they've all been full, but there were times where I didn't think that was necessarily going to happen, but it grew me and it's transformed me like nothing else, my retreats, there's so much on the other side of me moving through it and creating that. Yes, there's a lot at risk, there's a lot at stake, but there's actually so much more to gain on the other side when we follow what is true for us and what is in our heart. We are only afraid of our own judgment about ourselves. Yes, I'm loving the takeaways you're having. Christian's great. I'm definitely going to reflect on why I want certain things in my business. Yes, amazing. I know who I'm serving and I have been, so I allow people to barter because I want to help when they tell me they can't afford. Yeah. And this is like a claiming of your value, a claiming of your worth, and this is a big thing on the Empress, like, and we'll do this more in the call on Thursday too, but like the real claiming of that, because if you're in the Empress's quarters and, you don't go, oh, can I just give you I don't know, they probably used to barter with like lambs and goats and like to come in and see the Empress, whatever. It's like, shoot, oh, you can take the pigeon today. Like, it's like, well, no, you just don't come in, like it's like, that's it, right? So there's a power in owning your value and really claiming that too, hun, and a standard of what you're going to have and tolerate and want, as well, which we'll look more at. Definitely need to get myself up on the throne and believe in the power. Yes, yes, yes. Amazing. Okay, well, we don't have very long. I'm going to just briefly talk about the abundance piece as well, which we've mentioned pieces around it. But as I've said, a key thing, if you embrace your power and your true nature and you're putting yourself on the throne, and then you also embrace your true purpose and you're in service to the deep reason of service. Like, and when I say this, like, I don't mean a fluffy, I want to transform the world. I mean, the specific thing. We all have a real, unique, specific piece of service. I know I'm here to remind you of your golden goddess. I know I'm here to make, to bring alchemy to you, to bring you into your power, into your superconscious, into your intuition, into your genius, and not put the power in the ego, and to shift your consciousness so your whole world turns to gold. Like, I know that I'm here for that. That's my unique purpose. Like, I'm an alchemist. I'm a magician. I'm helping to support that in within you. And I get super excited by that. And when I teach it and like connect, it's powerful. And I get abundance from my connection of my true nature, my true power, and my true service and purpose. That's when abundance comes. I don't need to worry about the money. I didn't, when I was following those coaches and they were on the power throne, they told me years ago, I was in the health coaching space and they said, you've got to do weight loss coaching. Because I wanted to do resilience. I'd broken up with my husband when I was 6 months pregnant. You probably heard my story, and started my business when my son was 6 weeks old. It was devastating to break up with someone I loved for 10 years very, very quickly, and to have a child by myself as a first-time mum, and then to start a business by myself. The trifecta of those three in one was horrendous, right? But I was incredibly resilient to be able to do it and to move through it. And I wanted to teach resilience to women. I wanted to teach women empowerment. This coach told me that won't make money. You got to do weight loss. That won't, basically your life doesn't matter. Like that doesn't matter. Like people won't buy that. They'll buy weight loss. And I was like, I cared about weight loss when I was 20. Do you just hear what I've gone through? Like, she's like, no. So I fought with him. She was on the throne. I put her on the throne. Months and months and months, tried a business that way. Didn't make much money. I didn't actually care about it. It didn't actually have my soul in it. It wasn't what my intuition told me to say. The moment I said, stuff that, I'm on the throne, get off. I believe I'm doing resilience. You might say strategy-wise, it doesn't work. Doesn't matter. I care about this. I'm going to sell it. Guess what happened? I made more money than I ever did listening to her, right? Following my power and my service, what was connected to me, made money. Then this strategy coach came along and said, no, you got to teach strategy. You got to do this. You can't coach superconscious energy. No one wants it. 4 months, $0 in my business, listening to them and doing what they said. I didn't care about it. It wasn't connected to me. It wasn't my service. It wasn't my background. It wasn't what I wanted. It wasn't what my intuition was saying. I follow my soul. I say stuff that I'm going to teach the superconscious, stuff that I'm teaching energy. I'm teaching what I love. I'm teaching what I care about. 20K a month, and never went back ever again. Anytime I try to sell strategy, like it often never went anywhere, even though that was the thing that was meant to make money. Abundance is on the other side of you following your true power, of your true nature, and your true purpose. It is the natural byproduct of that. If we actually stop making money the focus, we actually stop being preoccupied by it, because a lot of the time money is the focus because of lack. If you are a multi-millionaire, billionaire, whatever, some people will still stress about money and things at that point because they're not coming from abundance, they're coming from lack. But if there wasn't a problem with money, you wouldn't be focusing on it. And again, what we appreciate grows. So if there's a problem with money and there's a problem with lack, and then you're focusing on it, you're trying to do all this stuff to react to it and create something else, you're just feeding the lack. And I did this for so long. And even if I started to make some money or something, it would just end up bouncing back to nothing again, or it would all go, or I'd manifest bills or whatever would happen, it would go, because the core of it, the foundation was lack. But when I focused on my true nature, what I love, and my service, who I love to serve, what I love to do, what I love to give to people, the value I want to offer, when I focused on those things, money was a natural byproduct. I actually started caring less about money. I care way less about money now than I ever did, but I'm way more abundant now than I ever was. The whole time that was the case. So a key to abundance is following your true nature and power, following your true purpose and service. And it's actually just then being in the abundance frequency. If you're in your true nature and you're in true service and you're just focusing on what you want to create, you're naturally going to be in abundance. You're naturally going to be focusing on what you love, what you want to create, what you already have. That's an abundant frequency that begets more abundance. It grows and appreciates more. But again, looking at what you don't have, you're looking at the fears, you're looking at the lacks, that's going to beget more lack. Right? It's sort of abundance 101. It's key. But I want you to look at, I'm just going to get this little link here. I want you to have a look at everything that we've talked about today and put in the chat, what is your absolute key takeaway for today? Put it in the chat. Now, I have wanted to, while you're putting in the chat, I'm going to share a little bit. I've wanted to talk a lot more about key practices and embodiment and tools to actually embed in the Empress, because you can know all of the theories and understand these things, but you actually have to know, how do I unlock her DNA in me? How do I actually release the coding, And we haven't been able to dive into that today, but I am, and I'm not sure if you've heard about this, but I've created a membership called Magnetism. And magnetism is my portal where it's a really low like level of investment versus like my other offerings and things like that. I wanted to make it super easy for people to come in and opt in and get this change. And we're embodying the archetypes. We're going to do deep work on unlocking the coding in the DNA to bring your frequency, bring your abundance, bring all of this out naturally through your body, through your intuition. And so if you would like info on magnetism, if you'd like info on the membership, which is it's a month call, and we deep dive into this work, and each month is another archetype. This next month it's the Empress that we're doing. And yeah, we deep dive into it. And we don't just look at the theory, we look at meditations, intuitive practices, embodiment practices, like to actually unlock it for you. So if you'd like info on it, please say yes in the chat and I can get you some info for that as well. The way it's running at the moment, because I'm just sort of getting it out, is that it's the first month's free. So if you want to, you can come and explore the Empress with me and really explore it and see, what it's like. But it's something I'm super, super pumped about because this, as I said, was one of the main game changers for me. And it's something that I haven't taught heaps outside of my main big program. So I'm super excited to be sharing this. But let's have a look. I'll put the link here too. Yeah, I've got a few of you guys. I'll message you guys as well. But here is the link too for you to be able to look at that as well and look at the info. And if you have any questions, let me know. Cool. What have we got here? Amita, focus on what I want in my heart and desire and create in my life. Yes, Amita, that's it. Beautiful. Be me. Don't hide myself. The right people will love me. Come to me. Yeah. Whoever you're inherently connected to will come to you, but they only come if you're actually being your true self. If you're hiding yourself, they can't see you. Yeah. It's very, really powerful, doll. Focus on surface, the game changer. Yes. Don't think about what you don't have. Focus on your own light and power. Yes. Love that, hun. We are queens and kings of our entire empire. Yes, that's right. Amazing. It's important to put my energy into what I want to create. Stop problem solving, courage, confidence. Yes. Service is a higher vibration. I love that, Lorena. Follow the true nature and be in your true service. Yes. Amazing. Thank you so much, my loves. Really, really awesome to have you. There's the link there too for you to have that info on magnetism and to learn how to really embody this and actually practically look at this in a deeper way. I've tried to give you guys as much as I possibly can in this hour, but we'll be able to dive into it more. What have we got here? If you have any questions or anything, I do have a couple minutes before I can dive off, so you can put them in the chat. My question is, what are the practices to fully embody Queen in decision everyday lives? So, Jane, you're in the membership shoot. I'll go into that deeply next call. But in terms of today, just so that you have something to start to look at and explore, one of the most powerful elements, like there's lots of different elements to this, but one of the most powerful initial ones is connecting to your soul client, like in terms of a business, this is a business answer to this, connecting to your like soul client and the people that you serve, and really owning and claiming and thanking God or the universe or whoever for the role that you play for them and the transformation that you play, and like sort of going ahead of time and like really claiming it, talking about it, like getting excited about it. That was one of the key things that I did every day in embodying the Empress. There's others, but that was one that really helped me own the service, own the power, and really own my unique empire that I'm here for, and be really grateful for it and step more and more into it. So yeah, I will tell you much more because we're going to do deep sort of embodiment and practices. But yeah, that's your answer for now, hun. Oh, thanks, Judy. Great to see you. I have been a little bit more offline. This whole year has been much more like on an in-life fun experience and my retreats and my deep one-to-one clients. But I'm coming back to give you guys more because I'm connecting back to my online community and to give you more and more love and power too. So I'm super pumped to come back online a bit more. So I'm going to be seeing you more now. But if you have any questions, anything else you want to let me know, please reach out on Facebook or Insta. Would love to hear from you. But thank you so much for your time and for coming. Hope you've, got a lot out of that, and keen to hear how you are on the other side. Thank you. Lots of love. Thanks. Bye.